And now a Kelly File exclusive. New testimony from CIA eyewitnesses to the Benghazi terror attacks, revealing that the U.S. ambassador to Libya and fellow Americans were left unable to defend themselves when the attack took place on September 11, 2012. Our chief intelligence correspondent, Catherine Herridge, has been working this story. She's live in Washington with that news. Catherine?
Well, thank you, Megan. This idea that we were somehow blindsided by the Benghazi terrorist attack just doesn't have merit based on this new testimony. These CIA personnel told the House Intelligence Committee in closed session that there was a notice that was posted on the bulletin board at the CIA annex in Benghazi. This was their base of operations. That said basically, look, guys, it's 9/11. We're looking at the likelihood of increased hostilities against Western targets. So when they saw Ambassador Chris Stevens show up in Benghazi on September 10th with virtually no additional security, what they testified to lawmakers is that they were puzzled and that there must have been some reason, something important that brought him to Benghazi at that time, Megan.
What do we know about the U.S. military assets that were in the region then prior to the attack?
Well, based on our reporting, what we've been able to confirm is that there was a directive from the CIA in August of 2011, so a full year before the attack, to their operation at the annex, that basically the NATO operations were winding down, military assets were moving out of the region, and if something were to happen, a major event or a terrorist strike, that they were essentially on their own. And we saw on the day of the attack that the CIA was best prepared and that they were able to clear out and sanitize that operation of all classified information in under 9 hours.
We heard so much about how this was a spontaneous attack and so on, Catherine, but now the evidence is becoming even more clear that this was al-Qaeda and they knew it.
Well, it's overwhelming. We spoke with the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Republican Mike Rogers, and this is someone who gets classified information, briefings, and he has access significantly to the raw intelligence data. And I know based on my experience with him that he looks at that raw data himself to reach his own conclusions. And he told us exclusively that this was an al-Qaeda attack, period, and that this was known within days of the attack, and that there is evidence that key operatives wanted to communicate with the al-Qaeda senior leadership before and immediately after the attack as well, Megan.
Wow. Catherine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, joining us now with more is Republican Congressman Lynn Westmoreland. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee and chairman of the subcommittee that just interviewed those CIA eyewitnesses. He's leading the investigation into this attack. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Let's start with that. Have we been able to determine why the administration left these State Department employees, the ambassador and others, at the consulate so utterly unprepared for danger on the 9/11 anniversary?
Megan, there's no excuse for it. And what we have learned is that the CIA did inform their folks at the annex, at the annex, that, hey, there's been a lot of chatter. We want you on high alert. And, they shared that information with the RSOs over at the temporary facility, even invited the guys over to spend the night with them. And I don't know why in the world the ambassador would have been making that trip. He made we understand that he did go to the opening of a school or something there in Benghazi, and two of the CIA agents was asked to go along with him on that for extra protection. But what other than that he was doing there, we really don't know.
We don't know why he was there, and we don't know why they had such inadequate security. And I know that the State Department, the security officers who were there, they were unprepared. And so when the attack started coming down, the CIA guys had to come over from the annex and help try to get rid of these terrorists and save who they could. I know you feel that one of the biggest stories here is the death toll that would have happened if the CIA guys had not come over. Where were the security forces for the State Department employees, including the ambassador, at the compound to begin with?
Well, Megan, what's interesting is that when we heard this testimony, that when they arrived at the facility, that none of the RSOs or the regional security officers that were there were armed. In fact, one of them was barefoot. We had one individual testify that he saw two of them riding around in a Land Cruiser. And so, none of them had a weapon. And as far as they know, no shots were fired. And so, that is completely inadequate, especially in Libya at the time of September the 11th. And so we don't understand exactly what kind of preparations these gentlemen have. Now, what we understand is the guy that was leading the thing had just graduated from the school there at the State Department and had been in Benghazi less than 10 weeks.
All right,
So,
but I have to get this question in before you go. Is this about incompetence, having the wrong people there, the wrong number of people, the inadequate preparations, or is this about a desire to make everything look like it's hunky-dory in Benghazi,
Yes.
Libya on the 9/11 anniversary to the peril of those who were stationed there?
Megan, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think they wanted us to, look like we weren't afraid, that, we were trying to be part of the neighborhood. And that was just not the case. And the security that was even sent down with the ambassador was very light. And in fact, they took the same route that the British ambassador had been fired upon about 3 months earlier. So I don't know how much really preliminary work they had done on preparing for the ambassador to be there.
Wow. Congressman Westmoreland, thank you so much for being here with the update. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much.